you've dealt with your, fair share of public scrutiny, right? And over
Yeah,
the
yeah,
years, whether it be through the bands,
yeah.
do you usually shut out those noises, or has that
Um,
bothered you throughout your career?
it sort of depends. Like, I'm quite, I don't know. I try to be quite honest with myself. Like, there's no any situation I've been in has been self-caused, really. So
Mm.
everything I've done, regardless if some, markers sort of have it in for me, they're emotional as well. They're not a robot. They're going to behave like we behave, like, and that's quite hard to understand when you're the one spending money going to these tournaments and they're retired. But that's the bottom line is like they're humans as well. So any situation I've been in has been my own doing, and I don't really. I used to listen to a few comments when I was young, like full of testosterone and Mr. Angry. Like I could really find myself going into some people, and I would fly, but I don't. It don't bother me now, really. Like that
Mm.
kind of stuff. Like I've sort of changed the way I behave a lot. I'm not as aggressive as I used to be. And watching them moments back on YouTube isn't nice for me either. Because
Right.
you're sitting there on the sofa watching yourself, and people love it. People love that side of me, but I generally don't. I wasn't doing that for attention or
Mm.
being aggressive, so I wanted views. I was put just in a box full of anger and emotion and stuff like that, and it's on camera, so you explode. And I don't particularly like the younger generation enjoying that kind of stuff, like with Curious and all these babble. Like, it's not a good thing to be like at
Right.
all. Like being emotionally weak and having no self control in those situations is the worst thing you can do. So I don't like the fact that some young kids think, oh yeah, that's watch me play and see me smash a racket and stuff 4 or 5 years ago and think that's the way they want to behave because it's cool. It's not like I've never wanted to behave like that. It's just I've had issues with self control over the years. So, but yeah, in terms of comments, like different things get to me more now. Like I don't really care. Like if people want to say they don't know me, don't they? It'd offend me if my best mates or my old man said you're out of order. Then I'd listen. But to someone on YouTube from Kazakhstan, I ain't bothered. Like. Yeah.
Fair enough. Also, wanted to ask you about the band when you were 19.
Yeah.
How was that experience? Because that was a 6 month ban, if I got that correct.
I think it was 6 months. Yeah. I got up to about. I think I must have been 19 years old. I got into the top 100. I think I was just top 70, and I don't know if they do it now, but they had that free strike system, 3 conduct points or over a season, and you get a ban. But I think that I was already on a suspended ban, so it just built up and built up. And I think basically they tried to make to show people that they would do it, because I was quite a promising young talent, but my behaviour was appalling when I was a kid. Really, I don't know really how England squash sort of put up with it because it weren't the best representing your flag the way I was behaving, smashing rackets. But I think I smashed. That was it. I was playing Cesar Salazar in the British Open. I must have qualified, and then at the end, I think it was John Mazzarella. I think I smashed. I think it was the end of the game. So I've had this a few times where like I've lost, and like again, self control, anger, whatever it is. Before I know it, my racket's in half, like it's done. I've not even thought about it. It's on the wall, broken. Or on my knee. But he gave me a conduct point after the match, and that was it. It was 6 months of not playing really. And I sort of did fall out of love it at the time because when you're a young kid like that, you think the world's against you, don't you? You think, oh, it's not my problem, not my fault. Like I said, everything I've done is, not many other people were doing that in the world at that age. So I take responsibility for it. But yeah, I didn't really pick up a racket. I put on a lot of weight. And I worked. My dad made me go work. So one of my dad's friends is like a tarmacker, like labour work, stuff like that. So I worked, basically saw how hard it is to earn not a lot of money at labouring level for 3 or 4 months. And waking up at 5:30 in the morning, getting back at 6, just it weren't for me. Like I did it for 2 or 3 months, and I was like, wow, like I can't do that for Monday to Friday, like not earning good money. I suppose you could build your way up, but like I was getting spoke to like like a piece of shit, really. Like, no one respected me because I didn't know what I was doing. I was an athlete at the time. I was strong, but I don't know how to, tarmac. But it made me respect it, to be fair. And once I had got to the point where I didn't want to keep working like that, I chose, well, I need to get back into this. And yeah, to me, it was a good decision, really.
I see. You're speaking about, the lack of self-control there when you're earlier in your career. And George, obviously you've had such a stellar junior career. I think that's a lot of people know that. Do you think that type of pressure got to you, especially because of how you were succeeding at such an early age with the sport?
Yeah, I think it probably got to my ego for sure. Yeah, like I said, I didn't know anything else. Like, once you're winning tournaments, I was number one in England every age group. There was no one from Leicester at the time. Like Simon Herbert's from Leicester now, but he didn't come through in the junior career. So I was the only guy in the East Midlands really had potential. So I think it probably did get to my head, yeah, and my ego. But I think, recently I've been diagnosed with ADHD because my girlfriend and dad, everyone sent me to go private to see it because they're just fed up with the way I'm behaving. Like, they weren't far off kicking me out the house. And I think that's got a lot of an explanation for self-control and, being overwhelmed in certain situations. Like, I'm not blaming everything on that, like, because you're your own person, but I can definitely see traits in the way I behave now in when I was a kid. I'm on medication now, and since I've been on the medication, it's been way easier to like filter certain stuff for me. Like, when I'm on a squash court on live streaming and there's so much going on, I find it so hard to like filter what you need to do, what's correct, how to behave, what shot to hit. I'm just literally all over the place. And one little thing, like, all the people I speak to, when they watch me like last couple of years, like, they find it hard to watch, because they just don't know what's going to happen next. And I think that was obviously a big cause in those situations, especially when you had adrenaline, all that kind of stuff. I think it just heightens it. But I've definitely seen a big change in my thinking, not in my level, nothing to do with my level because that's not changed, but in my brain, and the way I take losses has changed since I've been on the medication for sure. I'm still a aggressive guy, really. I'm quite strong and stuff. I'm not going to be mute, but like, I can filter. I feel like I've got a bit more of a 2 or 3 seconds head start on whether I do something or not. That's like the self-control. Before it was like I'd do something and then 10 seconds later I wouldn't even know I've done it. So that's sort of filtered out. But yeah, I definitely think being a good player, has got to my ego, for sure.